I'm in the military, and I have been sent to investigate strange occurrences on a base in New Mexico. Written by DonquixoteRosey. I'd like to start off by saying that I've never been into the idea of the paranormal, nor the otherworldly. Even given my Native American background and the stories that I was told by my parents and grandparents, I thought them nothing more than just stories meant to keep me and my brother from being bad kids. But ever since being stationed on a Marine Corps base in New Mexico, that has changed drastically. I'm a special agent in the military. I can't give away my rank, but I am an officer, a fairly young one at that. So I deal with a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the military that you don't hear about. I also do medical due to me getting a degree in health science, so I give medical support when needed on certain events that require it. Things on this base are, for the most part, very dull and plain. It's in the middle of nowhere, close to Navajo country, so there's not really much to do. I even started to question why I had been assigned to this duty, but that was until I was tasked with medical coverage for a 12-mile hike that would last 2 days. The beginning of the hike was uneventful. We made camp somewhere in the prairie full of vegetation under the desert night. It was my first time seeing the stars where little light pollution interfered. It looked beautiful and I was lost in the beauty of it. It looked like something a Renaissance artist would draw. My stargazing was interrupted by a loud conversation going on next to my tent. Marine 1. Dude, I swear I saw something watching me pee from beyond the perimeter. It was sitting on something. Marine 2. Bro, come on. If you're trying to scare me, it's not gonna work this time. You guys already pranked me once. It was probably an animal or something. Marine 1. That was no animal. It looked human. It stood on 2 feet and everything, I'm telling you. It walked just like we do. Marine 2. I think you had too much to drink. Come on, I think we should go back to the tent with the rest of the guys. Marine 1. Yeah, maybe you're right. Come on, let's go. Being the person I was, I decided to walk out to where he allegedly saw the thing and I started investigating. All I saw was a puddle of pee that quickly went from a puddle to a trail of pee leading back to the campsite. I let out a slight chuckle and was about to turn around when I saw something walking away in the distance. It was tall and pale with extremities reaching past its knees. Its body was slim with fingers too long to be human. It walked slowly but methodically. I decided to follow it with my shotgun in hand and loaded. I tailed the creature for 1 mile. It led me to a cliffside where it took a seat on a rock. I ducked behind a large rock. The creature.
I know you're there. Come on out from your hiding spot. There's no use in hiding.
The voice sounded like a man speaking through a microphone. It echoed when there was no possible way for it to echo, and it was deep. I spoke. Me. How did you know that I was here? How long have you known? Overseer.
You pick up hints when you're sitting on a rock enjoying a night of stars in the desert and you look to your left and see some asshole staring at you while he is pissing. You should have seen the look on his face when I started back. He ran away so fast with piss still running down his leg. I knew it would only be a matter of time until he told someone.
The thing was joking around. It knew where on the map it was. It knew what guns were, and it could swear. This creature was no ordinary creature. He knew his way. He understood the concept of human interaction. I questioned him. "Where did you come from?"
My friend, I come from the darkness.
"The darkness?" I asked.
You see, I was born in the darkness, molded by it. I didn't think that I'd see the light until...
I cut him off. "Okay, that's enough. I've seen the Dark Knight, and you don't look like Bane to me."
Fair enough. If I put on some muscle, though, and get juiced up a bit, I bet I could.
"Yeah, okay, whatever. Sorry for disturbing your night. You really shouldn't be watching people from a distance, creepily and all."
Well, your buddy shouldn't have been staring at me while taking a piss. I tried to avoid eye contact. That's like using the stall next to someone in the bathroom when there are four more open and looking him in the eye and starting a conversation, and then patting him on the back.
"Fair enough. Must have been pretty awkward."
Very well, I'm glad you understand. Your guys shouldn't be so careless out here. Other things more terrifying than me lurk in these deserts.
"What do you mean by other things?" I asked. But before I could get an answer, I blinked and it was gone. That single encounter proved to me that I had gotten myself into something that was only about to get more strange. The next day, we hiked back to base, but something was wrong when we called attendance. We noticed 2 Marines were missing. Myself and another Marine officer named Chaska were tasked to go find them. Chaska was a pretty cool guy. He grew up around here, on the Navajo reservation, so I knew that I was in good hands. We made our way to some caverns near the campsite where we assumed that the Marines went, at least telling from the footprints, which strangely turned into the looks of something being dragged through the sand. I looked at Chaska and he was pale. He knew something bad had happened. We both exchanged worried looks and ventured into the caverns. It was a maze straight out of Greek mythology. With a fork in the middle, it was a confusing maze, and a very confusing situation where it was difficult to know which directions to take. Chaska spoke. "Look, man, I don't know what you believe in, but no matter what, you need to listen to me. From what I've seen so far, I think something dragged 2 full-grown Marines into this cave and did God knows what to them. So I'm gonna give you this one rule and you follow it no matter what. If you hear me call your name, wait until I call it 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Got it? Keep this rope tied to you. I've tied it to a secure point in the front of the cave, so we can find our way back." "I got it," I responded. "Just make sure that your weapon is loaded. I'll go left, you go right." We parted ways, and instantly I felt lost and on edge. Every drop of water made me look behind myself. Every stalagmite gave me a heart attack, almost making me draw my weapon. I made my way deeper into the cave, then I started hearing whispers. Then I heard my name, and I saw Chaska waving me on. I started walking towards him, but before I could take another step, I was pulled by my rope from behind, and I was put behind a rock with a hand over my mouth. It was Chaska. He held a finger to his lips. We slid behind the rock with our weapons drawn. He motioned for me to peek from behind the rock, and I saw something that defied reality. It was a large creature, as tall as a tree. The body was skeletal and deformed, with missing lips and toes and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss, its footprints full of blood. A foul stench was present in the air, and an unseasonable chill preceded its approach. This creature was the Wetiko. It said the Wetiko possesses a person, and then when the luckless individual becomes a Wetiko himself, it hunts down those that he had once loved and feasts upon their flesh. The strong sense of fear I felt was indescribable. It wasn't a natural fear, but a powerful, primitive one. It was the core of basic human emotion. That fear shot my adrenaline through the roof, making all 6 of my senses go wild. This was the worst-case scenario. I looked at Chaska to see if we would engage or stand down, but when our eyes met, he gave me the signal to wait. His eyes then lit up with the thought. He had an idea, and he looked at me and pointed to the ceiling. There were sharp stalactites hanging from the ceiling. We both nodded. We looked up at the ceiling, and we were about to shoot when it spoke.
Come out, wherever you are, boys. I know you're there. Come join your friends.
It then started to mimic their voices. It didn't sound human, not at all. It sounded distorted and guttural. Our eyes both grew wide, knowing the outcome of our fallen comrades. Chaska then counted to 3 using his fingers. 1, 2, 3. We let loose fire on the stalactites and they came raining down on the creature, impaling it. "Run!" Chaska yelled, and we booked it back to the entrance, following the rope trail. We broke out of the cave entrance, and the thing did not give chase. We guessed that it was pinned to the floor. Still, Chaska removed 2 charges from his backpack. He set them up to the entrance roof of the caverns, and we blew them. The cavern was sealed off, and the creature could no longer escape. We returned and reported to our superiors that we couldn't find the Marines, and we reported them as missing. From what I heard, missing cases in this area tend not to get solved due to certain circumstances. That's all that I can say for now without giving away any classified information. But we still get reports sometimes that in the middle of the night, Marines on guard duty can still hear the missing Marines' voices coming from out in the desert, beckoning them to come and help them in the desert. We've spread the word to ignore it, even made up an excuse to discredit the voices, saying that it's just the wind. I have more stories, but I've run out of time now, and I need to get back to work. The Lieutenant Colonel wants a report on what is happening. If you want to hear more stories, let me know. Until then, see you later.